And you can appreciate the beings all around you right now. Just look around and embrace all of these beings as emanations of divine light and love and brilliance and beauty and joy, full to overflowing with divine intelligence and a love that is beyond a measure, the love of God, seeking to operate through the human heart, which would be your heart. You're cascading a blessing on all of these beings and getting out of your head for a moment, getting out of limited perception and opinions, just seeing the presence of God everywhere and casting a blessing on each other. And then you're going to allow one of the beings sitting next to you or near you to represent the entire congregation. And as you look at one of those sweet beings, precious in God's sight, look at that being and just say, oh my God, you are so precious. You are unique. There's something wonderful about you. Something beautiful about you. Something magnificent. There's so much good in you. So much peace. So much joy. And you have come to set it free. To make a mighty difference on this planet. And to help change the world for the better. Let's be this. Let's do this. Together. In the here and now. And so it is. Amen. Touch and agree. High five, handshake, hug, whatever the case may be. But just as we love to do here, love to recognize here at Agape that we're co-creating a field of love and beauty and intelligence, a vibratory field that's indeed vibrating a lot faster and a lot more powerful than all of the lower energetic fields of doubt and worry and fear and all of that which would seem to cause a sense of separation between us and the great presence of God. We're here to keep our vibes up because the world is wild out there. That's the theme of the evening. We're here to keep our vibes up with the awareness that, of course, we're vibratory beings, and though that we have flesh and blood, we are literally a vibration of intelligence, the vibration of a perfect spiritual idea held in the mind of the infinite. And you're at the stage of your evolution, of course, where you get to modulate your own vibration and frequency. It's not the world that brings you down, it's your thought about it. It's not circumstances, it's your perception of them. It's not situations, it's your point of view. And so through your spiritual practice of a whole soul meditation and affirmative prayer, life visioning, sacred fellowship, wonderful study, classes, things of that particular nature, you begin to modulate your own vibration and frequency so that your heart is open and that you're staying lifted regardless of what's going on in the world, because it's wild out there. Now, the out there I'm talking about is the world of appearances, the world of effects, the world of circumstances and situations that seem to create so much gravity among us, the thought forms of doubt, of worry, separation, scarcity, not enoughness, have a gravitational pull all of their own. And just like gravity that is created by the Earth's distance from the moon and the other heavenly bodies is operating 24/7 and pulling on the body temple, which makes you have to do some anti-gravity work in meditation and exercise in order to modulate or to mitigate that particular pull on you. You have to do a tremendous amount of work as well to keep yourself from being pulled into the gravitational field of worry and doubt and fear, materialism, greed and hate and separation, bigotry, all of that stuff that moves through the human experience. It has a gravitational pull, but you are here to be empowered to remind yourself that you modulate your own field. You modulate your own vibratory field. You're not a victim to circumstances whatsoever. So every single day you want to lift your vibration, of course, in your spiritual practice every day, but you also want to begin to ask as you move out into the world and always be reminded that we always separate the world from the planet. They're not the same thing. If you're just newly attending Agape, we know what the planet is. It's planet Earth, Gaia, Mother Earth, mountain ranges, rivers, oceans, 3/4 water, as a matter of fact. And that's the earth, but the world is made up of perceptions, thoughts, opinions, and synergetic conversations that create a perception. So individuals live in different worlds based on their perception and their chronic conversation. So we are here in the world, but we are of the presence of God. So you ask every single day, how can I make a difference for the affirmative as I move into the world? And as you ask that question, how can I make a difference, it begins to unfold a destiny. You're not only making a difference, you're making a destiny. As you ask, how can I make a difference, you lift yourself above the din of confusion going on in the world. The still small voice, which is always speaking, it's really not still, it's really not that small. It's just that there's so many other voices that are grabbing your attention. But if you ask, how can I make a difference in the world for the affirmative, you start to tune in to the broadcast that is always expressing itself and day by day by day, moment by moment by moment, little acts by little acts by little acts, choosing the higher frequency, you start to notice that there's a destiny that's unfolding through you. You're not merely in the world to make it, whatever make it means. You're not merely in the world to be anti-bored until you die. You're not merely in the world to protect yourself against negative things. You are here to make a difference as only you can. And if that question looms large in your awareness, destiny is release. Everyone has a great destiny. Repeat after me. Everyone has a great destiny. I have a mighty destiny. Magnificent destiny. And it's unfolding right now. So with that kind of question leading the way, how can I make an affirmative difference on the planet? You start to be guided in a language and in a way that you can understand, and your destiny starts to be revealed to you. And this destiny, since it does not come from the world of effects, world of circumstances, does not come from society at all. It comes directly from the mind of God that recreated itself in his own image and likeness and named that divine self you. You have a unique destiny, a unique way of expressing on this planet. It does have something to do with your unique way of being in joy, your unique way of being in peace, your unique way of being in intelligence and love, but only as you can express it. And then when you look out upon the issues that are besetting you individually, and you look out on the issues that are besetting the human family and the species on the planet Earth, and you know that you're unfolding a destiny and that you are about transformation, you're about growth, you're about unfoldment, you're about being more yourself. You live in the question of who will I be as I make it through the holy caca of the wildness out there. Now, I didn't mean for it to come out like that, but that's the way it rolled this evening. But who will I be when I make it through all of this stuff? Now, if you ask who will I be when I make it through, you're talking to your future. You're talking to what's unfolding. You're talking to what's about to break through. And as you begin to say, who will I be as I make it through the stuff that we're all going through as a human species and as individuals, I'm actually coming into harmony and into communion with that part of me that's being born, and I'm less and less and less focused on obstacles, hindrances, and the stuff. I'm focused now on what is it that's untouched by time and circumstance that wants to reveal itself. I start to enter into a communion with it. And as I'm entering into a communion with it, my future, which is happening right now, my vibration is being lifted. I'm no longer in the wildness and the seeming negativity of the world. I am in the feeling tone of what I am becoming. That becomes more real to me than what we seem to be facing. And now I'm in the world, but I'm of the answer. I'm of the next stage of my unfoldment, vibrationally. I'm of the next stage of my unfoldment, and I have a full awareness that I can never solve that particular issue from the previous vibration. My next level of consciousness has all the answers to what I'm moving through. Are you following what I'm saying here? And so you're asking, how can I make a difference affirmatively on the planet? That begins to unfold the destiny. Who will I be when I make it through? I'm talking to my future self that's in the nowness of this moment. Remember, our tomorrow is just more of God's today. So that divine and perfect spiritual idea already exists, but we have to engage it. We are engaging it by saying, who will I be? It begins to talk. We begin to feel it. We begin to walk in that. No longer bound by circumstance and situation, but by the feeling tone of our own becoming. We're living in that radical tension between being and becoming, accepting and self-love and appreciation as to who we are, but always on the verge of more of ourselves expressing ourselves. And then we do not allow for ourselves to fall into a false narrative about the world, about the planet, false narratives being not enough to go around, false narratives being we live in a universe of scarcity and lack and limitation and not enoughness. That false narrative and that sense of separation moves through the gamut of the human experience, and people actually live in the feeling tone that there's not enough good to go around. That is a false narrative. You have to be aware of the false narrative so you don't buy into one. There's one going around now about individuals that are taking a knee, and the false narrative is that there's some kind of way abusing the flag or something to that. It's a lie. It's a false narrative. It has nothing to do with the flag or abusing the nation. That false narrative, it has something to do the same way that John Carlos and Tommy Smith put their fists up at the Olympics to call attention to racism in America, and they made it about a flag. The same false narrative that people who do not want to have a real dialogue about some of the underlying issues in our culture will shift the narrative to flag waving rather than the underlying police brutality and hate that's fomented by the false narratives. We don't want to be caught up in a false narrative on any level. Kneeling is about calling attention to police brutality and racism. Nothing to do with hating America. We all love America and the ideal of it, you see? And we don't want to fall prey to the false narrative that breaks into your consciousness on a regular basis when you turn on the news, and there's not enough good to go around. We live in a universe of scarcity and lack and limitation, separation from good. That's a lie. You are not to fall prey to that. You are to stand in the awareness that your life is an emanation of the only life that there is, which is the life of God. You start with that narrative, that premise. My life is the life of God. Then you can prove that out of nothing at all, out of no thing, the same way that the mind of the infinite birthed the cosmos, birthed the universes, which has trillions of galaxies, and out of nothing, there's no scarcity, out of no thing but a divine idea, you will walk in the world asking, how can I make a difference so my destiny will unfold? You will ask in the substance, what will I be as I move through this? You'll touch upon it. And then you'll stop and begin to realize that out of nothing at all, but an idea and the lifting of your vibration, with the awareness that expanded consciousness is the new frontier. That's the new frontier. Your expanded awareness of the presence of God is the new frontier where you are no longer held captive by doubt and worry and fear, but you're captured by a spiritual idea that speaks to you and sings to you and embraces you and loves you. And you just feel so loved. I was on my way to Agape the other day, a day before yesterday, and I was going across Pico, and this person ran this light coming right at me, and I slammed on my brakes, and when the seat belt wrapped itself around me, and I do this, even though the seat belt is going like this, I felt these arms around me. It was like, I felt like I was cocooned by so much love. And the car stopped like an inch away from my door, and I looked at the lady, and I pointed to my green light. And she was going, I was going, But I felt so loved. I didn't feel like, oh my God, I'm going to have an accident. I felt love. It was like, oh my God, I'm taken care of. Taken care of. Taken care of. I'm taken care of. I want you to know that you're surrounded by a universal presence that's taking care of you right now. That's the real narrative. That there's a presence. And as you begin to engage it by asking, how can I make an affirmative difference on this planet? As you begin to engage it by saying, what am I going to be as I grow up? What am I going to be as I grow through this? Not just how to get through it, but I'm becoming something as I'm getting through it. What is that? Let me see it. Let me be in communion with it now because it already exists. The oak tree already exists in the acorn. Let me commune with it. And then let me keep my mind clean from the false narratives that beset our minds every single day, from corporate media and conversations and fear and doubt and worry, until individuals are captured by doubt, captured by fear. They're paralyzed by worry. No. You are a dynamic spiritual being. You are not a little old nothing. You are a dynamic spiritual being that can modulate your own energy. You can lift yourself via dynamic intentionality and spiritual practice, so that you can see the wildness that's going on. The old rising up to die, new emerging, shifting sands of infinite possibility coming forward, and only be in the narrative of life always wins. Love always wins. We are an evolving species here to make a dynamic leap into a greater expressions of life. We will not be held captive by hate, the separation, doubt, worry, and fear, and we will not allow others to define our own narrative. We're standing for love and joy and peace and possibility. Whether you take a knee for possibility, whether you affirm it, whether you pray, but you don't let anyone else create the narrative for your life. You create your own narrative, because they will talk about you. Listen, if you do anything good, they're going to talk about you. No one is ever criticizing a couch potato. Ooh, look, he's doing nothing. He's on the couch all day. No. You try to make a difference on the planet, they will talk about you. So just go ahead and accept it and love it and appreciate it and know that it's a sign of growth. And if they ain't talking about you, you ain't doing nothing. Take a breath. Hear it. We're keeping our vibes high because it's wild outside. Outside of our own awareness. So we come inside in our own interiority and commune with the presence, living in a state of inquiry. How can I make a difference and activate my destiny? What am I going to become as I move through this? We're communing with the presence. We're releasing false narratives of lack and separation. We're not going to die and go to heaven. Heaven is here. If we expand our awareness, we're not going to keep cycling and reincarnating to one day we are enlightened. We're enlightened now. We're just removing the obscurations of the mind. So we throw away the false narratives of the old fundamentalistic way of looking at the world. And we stand strong. No false narrative. Our life, life of God. Our breath, breath of God. And then we begin to see possibility. We begin to see potential. Individually, collectively. That potential begins to be activated. And we walk in our freedom now. Take an inward glance with me for just a moment and ask the question of yourself, what affirmative difference can I make? You just ask the question because It will answer, the universal mind will answer through the universe. In a moment you think not. It'll just show up. How can I make a difference affirmatively? Wherever I go today, this evening, tomorrow, this week, we live in that state. We're lifting our vibration. How can I make a difference? I'm not a victim. I can make a difference, which is now activating the destiny that's within us. And who will I be as I grow through anything that I'm moving through now individually? And who will we be collectively as humanity as we grow through these wild times? Who will I be? Who will be? Who will we be? We ask that question and we come into communion with our real self that's not bound by time or circumstance. And thirdly, let me protect my mind against false narratives. They seep in. Not enoughness, scarcity, separation, lack, captured by doubt and fear. No. The narrative we live by is my life. My life is an emanation of the only life that there is. And everything I could want or hope for is already within me. I'm not captured by fear. I'm pulled by a sacred vision. And I demonstrate all needs met. I demonstrate everything working together for my good. I demonstrate it. Our vibration is lifted. It's wonderful inside. Our interior awareness is glowing like gold. Brilliance. Feel it. Say with me, if you will, all of my needs are met. All of my needs are met. That is my beginning. Everything is working together for my good. That's where I begin. I'm at one with God. That's where I begin. I'm at one with joy. That's where I begin. With your eyes closed, have that face asana. That is smile. And if you can't, look at the thought that's preventing it. It has nothing to do with anybody else. Don't be a victim. Open your eyes, look around, look at the sweet beings that you met earlier in the earlier in the service, and you cast a mighty blessing on all of these beings and those who are live streaming and on Facebook Live. Look around the room and say, "Oh my God, there is such beauty here. This is a beauty call. Oh my God, there's such love here. There is such abundance here. There's such health here. There's such prosperity here. There is such joy here. I see it. I say it. I live it. And it's happening through us right now. And that is the way that it is. Somebody shout about it. Heal it in your bones. Now let's come together in prayer of this moment. As we began our service in sacred sound and then evocation, we turn within in this moment and we become very specific in our acknowledgement that we can be grateful right now. We're not going to wait till something good happens to be grateful. We're going to stand in gratitude right this moment. We're going to stand in the feeling tone of thanksgiving and appreciation right now. This sense of gratitude opens up and cleanses our perceptual windows that we're able to see more clearly. No false narrative of separation, lack, limitation, not enoughness, unworthiness. No. Image and likeness of God spiritually. We begin to see clearly through the vibratory frequency of gratitude. And we begin to feel that there's no separation between us and the great power and the great presence, the great love, the great life, the great intelligence. Call the presence by any name you choose. Just call the presence forth as the activity of your awareness, one with God. And so in this divine recognition of our oneness with the presence and the power and the love of God, the word is spoken for each and every one of us that we may be free today. Each and every one of us that we may be set upon a course of so great unfolding, soulfully grateful unfolding, that we're always on the verge of becoming more, never on the verge of becoming less than our true self. We're not victimized by anything. The word is spoken that we begin to know that something truly wonderful is happening in our life. The body temple is a fit instrument to reveal the glory of God, called health and wellness and well-being. And all of that is happening right now. Every organ and every every organ, every function is now hearing this word of truth and aligning itself with the frequency of well-being. Yes. Are you willing to be whole? Yes. No, really, are you willing to be whole? Yes. Are you willing to be whole? Yes. In this dynamic yes of wholeness, there is a well-being of the mind called clarity, a well-being of the emotional body called purity, the well-being of the dynamic body of affairs called order, harmony, elegance, sacred geometry. It's all happening. And we become strong enough in our intention to walk in this dynamic. Oh, we're going to make a difference on this planet in the affirmative. Oh, yes. Something wonderful is happening. Something is calling us from the depth of our being. We're yielding to it. We're yielding to it. No false narrative. No fake news. The gospel, the good news, is what has our attention. The good news has our attention. Never born, never die. Eternal, unfolding, complete to complete to complete to complete. That's us. That's here. That's now. Oh, feel it in your bones. Ricky Beebe is going to help you feel it in your bones before we pray for our sacred brothers and sisters.
While I run this race, hold my head. While I run this race, hold my hand. While I run this race, 'cause I don't want to run this race in vain. Oh, God, my feet.
Yes.
While I run this race, oh God, my feet. While I run this race, oh God, my feet. While I run this race, 'cause I don't want to run this race in vain, race in vain. Hey, stand by me while I run this race. Oh, stand by
Please take the hand of the being next to you. Realize that you and that sweet being are so precious in the sight of the infinite. God's eyes too pure to behold inequity. You are the light of the world. And this is what you're feeling about yourself. You are the light. That lights up every man and woman that comes into the world. That light is shining bright now. Your vibration is high. You've released yourself from the gravitational pull of the downward spiral of doubt and worry and fear. Your trajectory is excellence, peace of mind and well-being. And it is in this vibratory frequency that we can embrace those who have reached out for prayer, who are really reaching in to be aware of their oneness with God.